Hello, this is Mary Ann Dersh with Courageous Communication. And today I'm going to talk to you about a question that a lot of nonprofit development, marketing, and directors ask, which is, can I raise funds in the age of the coronavirus? And the short answer is yes, you can. But let's first think about why we think we can't, and then we're going to talk about how we can do that. So to address the first part is, why do you think you can't? Well, this is why. It's because our whole globe, our whole world has changed. I'm talking to you from the back corner of my home instead of my co-working space that I typically work in. My kids are home from school. We can't go to the grocery store. If we do, it's only one of us and we have to wear a mask. The way we fundamentally move through the world has drastically changed. Yet, life goes on, and life goes on in a very profound way now. You have a mission. I have a mission. We have stuff that we have to get done. Commerce still happens. Agency still happens. And actually, thank goodness, because if everything stopped, think of what we'd have to climb out of, right? So the more that we can keep moving during this, the less we're going to have to undo when we get done, right? Because there will be another side of this. The crazy things, we just don't know when. So what I want to tell you is a couple of things around this. First of all is that we learned, I'm going to talk about the past for a second. We learned some lessons from the past. 2008, the recession hit. Now, I've been working in nonprofits since 1992. I don't know what you were doing in 1992, but I was working in nonprofit, and I've seen recessions. I've seen, 9/11. I've seen, the housing crisis. And here's what we have learned from that is when there's a crisis, nonprofits will feel bad about asking for money. Like, I couldn't ask for money during this difficult time. I couldn't ask for money during a recession because that would burden people. And what happened is people received those messages differently than we were sending them. The message that they were receiving is, whoa, since I'm a little short on money now, you don't care about me. You only cared about me for the money. Or they say, well, if you're not going to communicate with me anymore, not going to engage with me, wow, this other organization wants to engage with me. I'll just go with them. And what happened is we felt like maybe we couldn't ask, and other people felt like disrespected for not being a part of the dialogue anymore. And that's what we learned from 2008 is don't stop marketing and don't stop fundraising. We need to change our approach, but we don't want to stop. And here's the second thing is a value. Okay, so there's a couple of ways I want you to define your value, and that is with your power and purpose. This is a huge age of uncertainty that we have around us right now. It is so scary. And so it really helps to connect to the things that are in our lives permanently. And the good news is that your power and your purpose never change, no matter the circumstance. So you have a personal power and purpose, and your organization has a power and purpose. And we need to think about ourselves as individuals first and then an organization, because individuals make up organizations, right? So you want to make sure every person in your organization understands their power and purpose, and that so that you can understand your organization's power and purpose. By power and purpose, I mean your power of what are the gifts you have, what are the gifts that your organization has, and by your purpose, what are you out to do? What difference are you out to make? And then once you align with your power and your purpose, I want to ask you to ask two questions. The first question is, why is what you do more important than ever? A lot of organizations say to me, Marianne, why would anybody care about art therapy at this time? Or why would anybody care about team mentoring? And my question back is, why wouldn't they? Because in why is what you do, I'm going to read the question from my notes so I get it right. Why is what you do right now more important than ever? One exercise that you can do is just take 5 minutes and write for 5 minutes. Why is what your organization does right now more important than ever? Don't edit, don't stop, just write. And when you come back and look at that, and you could actually ask several people in your organization to do this too, maybe some board members, why is what you do right now more important than ever? And then you can come up with 4 or 5 grounding principles to get you through this time, because what you do is more important than ever. And those 4 or 5 grounding principles, those are your cases for giving, and those are your reasons to keep marketing and keep fundraising. The second question I want you to ask is, what would a big win look like? When all this is over, what would a big win look like for you or your organization? Attach a positive outcome to this. So the positive outcome could be you're going to raise money even though the big gala was canceled. The positive outcome could be you're engaged with more board members than you ever have before. What is that win on the other side of this? Because that allows you to reframe this crisis from you being a victim of circumstance to you actually using this as an opportunity to grow in your leadership and grow in your power as an organization. The last question I'm going to address is, okay, if it is okay to fundraise, and I understand that I have power and purpose and value during this time, the last question you want to ask is then, how do I do it? Because it seems awfully weird to talk to people about going to see the tulips blooming in the park, or talking about getting a dog therapy or fostering dogs at this time when there's so much going on. So how do you even broach the subject with people? So here's what I want to tell you. The first step to any communication is empathy, right? Your job is to enroll them in a vision. And the first way you're going to do that is to reach out to them and with empathy. So you can say, I know, let's talk about, there's the tulips are blooming in the park. So let's use that as an example, because that's an example that somebody had mentioned to me, like, how do I talk about, the tulips are blooming in the park? Okay, so let's talk about that. So you're going to say, I know this is a really scary time for you, and it's a scary time for us. And you all, I hope you're safe at home. Establish that empathy. You want to meet them where they're at. They're kind of freaked out too. So we don't want to oversell the subject, and we also don't want to ignore it. So if your organization is not in a panic over this, if you're not on the front lines, and yet it's still affecting you, say that. If you are on the front line, say that. Just be honest and authentic with where you're coming from and meet them where they're at. So you can say, this seems like a crazy time to be talking about tulips with all of this going on. And yet we have time to be more appreciative than ever of the beauty around us. And that's how we want to share with you. And in our city, some parks are closed to traffic, so you may need to tell people how they can enjoy those tulips. You may have somebody walk the park and do a photo essay. You may be able to tell people they can walk through the park and how to do that safely with physical distancing. You can give people a guide for how to enjoy them right now, and also offer, part of what you can do is offer some creative solutions. At our botanical gardens here, they're doing virtual tours because it is a private area and it's closed. And what I love about this time, is all the creative ways that people are accessing things like drive-by birthday parties and costume parties and things like that. Like, I knew 2 people yesterday who had birthdays, and they had drive-by parties and people left stuff on their porch and signs in their front lawn. You can do the same thing. How can you be creative around your power and your purpose, and so that you can turn this into a big win? So let's go back to the tulips. Like, okay, you can talk about the tulips and you can show, hey, we did a photo essay. If you can't get out to see them, here's a photo essay or a little video. Here's one of our nature people, botanists or whatever, talking about the tulips and showing you the different kinds. We're going to take you on a virtual walk through the tulips. Or if you can see them safely, here's how you do that. Step 1, step 2, step 3. So you can actually connect with people, because here's the thing about the place that we're in, is that when you're in a crisis like this, and what's happening to you and what's happening to me, is that the things that are really important to us come to the surface. And if your supporters find that your nonprofit is really important to them, they are going to want to stay engaged with you. And I guarantee they're going to want you, and they're going to need you even more when this is over. People are going to be bounding to the park when this is over. If you're in the arts, you're going to have full seats, because now people are like, oh my gosh, there's so much that I missed. And so you want to be there for them. You want to be walking through this with them. So you can fundraise. You're going to attach to your power and your purpose. You're going to create a big win, and you're going to create messages that meet people where they're at, help them navigate through the situation, and give value to them. You don't have to ask for money. What you need to do is be of value to people during this time. Now, if you want to ask for money, absolutely you can. In that message to the donors about the tulips in the park, and you can say, and hey, this is a really uncertain time for all of us. And here's how the virus has affected us. Here's what's happening with us that's causing difficulties. It would be really great if you could support us during this time. You can also keep it soft and just keep an open loop. Say, we are here for you and we are here to help you and serve you no matter what. So, and you can just say, whenever you can or whenever the time is right, we'd love for you to consider a gift, and just keep that open loop open. The thing you don't want to do is stop marketing and stop communicating with people. So there's how, this is why you can fundraise during the coronavirus. If you liked this video and you want more, you can subscribe below and you can download my guide. It's called Communicating in a Crisis, the ultimate nonprofit guide to keeping your shit together when the rest of the world is falling apart. And yes, I made a little swear. The link is in the comment section below. Please download it and share with your other nonprofit friends. Until next time, stay safe, stay sane, remember your power and purpose, and always be courageous.